I'd like to go back to the charter school issue a little bit that was raised just recently by the good gentleman from Butler County. And again, if you can explain, because we've just had a lot of testimony on this in the Education Committee, dealing with how much reimbursement is going to, or how much money is going to the cyber charters across the state compared to what the education costs at the local level. If a local school district or an IU has a program, it seems that they're able to provide a very good cyber education for something between $5,000 and $6,000 per student. And yet we know the reimbursement rates that are going to the cyber charters are substantially higher than that, anywhere from roughly $13,000 to as high as well over $40,000 in for special needs students. I need to ask you a couple of different areas. Number one, what is the department's, again, this got into a little bit of the conversation before in terms of the review as to how the identification takes place. And what I want to focus on, though, is not just the identification, but the accountability that comes at the end. After that money is granted to, let's say, a cyber charter for, let's say, an extreme special needs student of $45,000 or more, what is the accountability that the department has over that expenditure to see if, in fact, it was actually carried out and what the results were?
So it's a great question. So there is accountability. So the Department of Education owns the accountability of the process. And I think that's an important distinction because as I was processing through our role and responsibility and the role and responsibility of the local school district, it's always a good reminder in that here in Pennsylvania we're a very proud local control state. And where we own the process, it's really the process by which making sure the resources are available to students who may have special needs. So in the case of all schools, if a student is identified as having special educational needs, the family engages with the school district in forming the IEP. Now, if that doesn't happen, they report to us, we send a team, and we engage in the team. We engage in the process accordingly. However, if there is an IEP in place and the parent is receiving everything that has been identified and they feel is appropriate and never complains, we would never know.
How many teams were sent out last year to do investigation of situations like that?
We send teams out pretty regularly. I mean, it's probably in the hundreds to 1,000 in terms of.
And were they for specifically cyber situations or?
No, probably varied.
Yeah, that's varied.
Yeah, it varied. And
numbers? I mean, is there?
We can get you those numbers. I mean,
Okay, I would
keep an
appreciate that.
Sure.
I would, because, I think when we look at this, and as you said earlier about the designations between level 1 to level 3, I mean, that's substantial in terms of what happens, and we know that cyber charters, for the most part, are looking at 94% of the students identified in their programs are level 1. They're not up to level 3. It's a very small number, and yet still we see designations, again, of higher amounts of money going there with a really small amount of accountability. I think that would be fair to say. And we'd like to make sure that, again, with this expenditure of money, and we know the governor has proposed a means by which to try to scale this back, if I understand correctly, to about $9,600 of reimbursement?
Correct. So what the governor is recommending is that we go with a flat state fee of $9,500 for a regular education student, and then a line item increase. So you take that dollar amount, and if it's a special need level 1, an increase, level 2, an increase, level 3, an increase above that.
Okay, I think, again, that's a step in the right direction to make sure that we can write some of this and be able to fund adequately students in all our schools in a way that I think would be more beneficial. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.